You've probably never seen this stream, and if you have, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have clicked it. The thumbnail looked like any late-night broadcast. A dim room, faint static lines, and the kind of nothingness that makes you curious just because no one else seems to care. But when the feed loaded, I knew instantly. This wasn't meant for anyone outside that room. The video was flickering, colors bleeding like old VHS static. The chat was alive but wrong. Usernames like deleted, strings of numbers, and symbols that looked half Cyrillic, half code. They weren't talking to the streamer. They were talking to each other, and every message felt rehearsed. It's almost time. He's here. Keep watching. I remember squinting, thinking maybe it was some edgy art project or ARG. But then the camera shifted, and I saw them. 3 figures standing behind a fourth who sat slumped in a chair. His head hung low, wrists bound with something that looked like black tape. The lighting wasn't right. It flickered like the source was coming from a monitor, not a bulb, and then one of them turned toward the camera. I froze. The feed stuttered. I thought it was a lag spike, until the figure's mouth moved in perfect sync with a voice I swear came through my speakers, whispering my name. That was when I should have closed the tab. But curiosity doesn't work like that, does it? You tell yourself it's fake, that there's a logical explanation, a prank, a deep fake, or whatever helps you breathe through the pounding in your chest. So I stayed, watching, listening. The chat went silent, completely silent. Then, as if on cue, a single message appeared. Now he's part of it. That's when the camera panned down. I won't describe what I saw. Not yet. You wouldn't believe me anyway. But I'll tell you this much. It wasn't staged. No one acts like that. No one screams like that. I blinked and the stream froze. The screen flickered, then went black. When it came back, the chat was gone, the usernames deleted, and the stream title had changed to something else. Just one line of text. You saw it. There's no record of it now. They wiped everything. Every trace, every archive, even my browser history, gone. People online say it never existed. But I know what I saw, and if you've ever scrolled late enough, deep enough, you might have seen the same thing too. To explain how I ended up in that stream, I need to tell you what I was looking for that night. I've always been a night owl, the kind of person who treats 3 a.m. like most people treat noon. My room's lit only by the soft blue glow of a monitor, surrounded by half-finished coffee cups, and the low hum of a PC fan that sounds like white noise therapy for insomniacs. I don't really game anymore. I just drift. YouTube rabbit holes, forgotten Reddit threads, old creepypasta archives that haven't been updated in years. Anything that feels like a digital ghost town. There's a strange comfort in wandering places everyone else forgot. It feels like walking through the internet's afterlife. That's how I found the post. It wasn't on Reddit or Discord. It was buried in a small forum that looked like it hadn't been active since 2015. A place where the avatars were all broken images. And half the threads had titles like 404 error on stream, or is Twitch haunted? I clicked one without thinking. The thread's title was simple. The stream that shouldn't exist. The first post read like an urban legend. Someone claimed there was a lost Twitch channel, one that had no username, no followers, and no metadata, yet it was always live. The stream supposedly appeared only if you'd been watching other broadcasts for at least 6 hours straight. Some said it showed empty rooms that slowly changed when you weren't looking. Others said you'd see reflections of your own room in the background. It sounded fake, of course. I'd seen hundreds of ARGs built on that kind of premise. Haunted live stream, ghost channel, AI gone rogue. They always start the same, with screenshots that never quite match up, usernames that lead nowhere, links that 404 right when you get too close. But there was something about this one. The replies were wrong. The first few looked normal, people joking, debunking, and calling it a hoax. But deeper down the thread, things got quiet. Just a string of deleted users. No comments, only timestamps. Someone would post a reaction. I saw it too. And then a moderator tag would appear saying, user banned. Over and over. The last reply before the thread was locked said this: if you stay long enough, it watches back. Most people claimed it was a myth. I wanted to prove them wrong, so I started digging. Cached versions, web mirrors, and even a few shady archive sites that warned me about personal data leaks. I didn't care. I just wanted to see it. And eventually, buried between broken image links and bot spam, I found it. A post with no title, made by an account with no name. The body was just one sentence. The stream is still live, and underneath it, a Twitch link. At first I thought it was dead. When I hovered over it, the preview didn't load. But then I noticed something strange. The timestamp updated every few seconds, as if the site recognized the stream as active. I don't know what I expected. Probably just another troll link or viral stunt. But the curiosity, That addictive, gnawing curiosity that keeps you awake when you should be asleep. It got me. Someone in the comments had written, "Don't click if you're alone." I laughed. I was always alone. You won't find the thread now. It's been deleted. That's what makes it worse. Because the link still worked for me. I wish it hadn't. I remember hesitating before clicking it. The Twitch tab flickered open, black at first, then gray. The buffering wheel spun endlessly, as if the site itself wasn't sure whether to load what was on the other side. The stream title appeared in a plain white font, Live 0 viewers, and then the screen flashed. That's when the stream began to play. When the stream finally loaded, the screen was almost black, just a faint, sickly yellow light in the corner, like a dying bulb struggling to stay alive. There was no title, no viewer count, and no live chat. Just a single camera feed aimed at a plain wooden door in what looked like a basement. At first, I thought it was pre-recorded. The quality was too low, the shadows too still. The kind of grainy analog flicker that made everything look like old VHS footage. I moved the cursor across the timeline, but there was none. No way to pause, rewind, or skip ahead. It wasn't archived. It was live. The sound was the worst part. A low hum, like a fan buried under layers of static. Every few minutes it would distort, turning into a faint, wet whisper that barely sounded human. I watched for 10 minutes. Nothing happened. Then 20, 30. The door never opened. The camera never moved. It was the digital equivalent of watching paint dry. Except the longer I stared, the more I started noticing things that shouldn't have been there. A reflection of something metal near the bottom corner of the screen. A faint outline in the dark behind the door. Not quite a shadow, but not light either. And every so often, the hum of static would shift slightly, almost like it was reacting to my breathing. That's when I tried to close the tab. It didn't work. The X at the top corner did nothing. The keyboard didn't respond. The stream kept running. For a second, I thought my computer froze. But when I alt-tabbed, everything else worked fine, except for the browser. That stayed locked on the feed. And then, the chat popped up. It didn't fade in normally. It glitched in, a vertical blur. Then a single message appeared. The text looked wrong. Half the letters were symbols, some reversed, some broken, as if the font didn't exist on my system. I leaned forward. Another appeared. I refreshed the page, thinking maybe it was a bot raid. But then another message appeared, from a username I recognized immediately. It was my username. Exactly as it appears on Reddit, down to the capitalization. At first I thought I was being hacked. Maybe someone spoofed my handle. But when I checked Twitch in another tab, my account was logged out. No history, no sign-in, nothing. And yet messages kept coming. Me, you don't leave. Not a lost feed, he's here, 299. Look, that last one froze me. Because as soon as it appeared, the camera moved. Not much. Just a slow, dragging tilt to the left. But enough to reveal the corner of the basement wall. And something else. There was a person standing there. Or I think it was a person. The frame barely caught them. Just a sliver of pale skin, the edge of a face, and one glassy eye staring toward the camera. Then, like static skipping a frame, it was gone. The chat exploded. Lines of code, symbols, and fragments of words in dozens of languages. It didn't scroll normally. The messages flickered in and out, rewriting themselves as I watched. Me. No. Why are you watching? Lost feed. Too late. You 999. He saw you. The stream cut to black for a split second, then came back, but the camera was closer now. The angel lowered, tilted upward toward the door. I sat there, staring at the feed, my heart pounding. I knew I should have left, should have shut off the whole computer, but I didn't. I couldn't. There was something hypnotic about it. The kind of dread that doesn't feel like fear until it's too late. The door rattled once. Just once. Then silence. I remember whispering to myself, this has to be fake, as if saying it out loud would make it true. Then a soft chime, the Twitch notification sound. Someone had followed the channel. The username that appeared on screen was mine. I didn't click it. I didn't move. The hum of static deepened into a pulsing heartbeat rhythm. The light behind the door dimmed, then flared. Like something walking in front of it. I could almost make out breathing. Heavy, uneven. The chat flickered again, then froze on a single message. You lost feed. You're next. And then, every light in my room flickered. When my monitor stabilized, the stream title had changed. No longer blank. Just 2 words. Written in the same corrupted text as the usernames. Private feed. If you ever see a stream titled that, close it. Don't watch. Don't screenshot. Don't even let the preview load. Because when I tried to record it, every file deleted itself. Every folder, every log. gone the moment I hit save. I told myself I'd stay just a few more minutes, just long enough to figure out how it worked. Maybe it was an elaborate ARG. Maybe someone had hacked my metadata. Maybe I was being pranked. But when the door started opening, I realized something else entirely. The stream wasn't showing a random basement. It was showing mine. To understand how that's possible, I need to tell you what happened next. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that door. The dim light bleeding through the cracks, the way it had creaked open just a few inches before the stream cut to black. I kept telling myself it was a trick, some kind of visual filter or AI-generated background stitched together to freak me out. I shut down my computer and unplugged it. Literally unplugged it. I made sure the monitor light was off and the tower silent. Then I sat back on my bed and stared at the blank screen, daring it to flicker. And it did. Just once. A faint pulse of white like static behind glass. Then everything went dark again. That's impossible, I muttered. The hum started next, the same low frequency that had filled my headphones during the stream. Only now, it was coming from somewhere inside my room. At first, I thought it was the fridge, then the air vent. But when I stood up, it followed me. The tone shifted with every step, rising and falling, as if it were tracking my movement. I turned to my window. My reflection stared back, tired, pale, nothing unusual. But just before I looked away, it blinked, and I didn't. I froze. My reflection tilted its head slightly to the right, a movement I hadn't made. For a single sickening heartbeat, I thought I was hallucinating. Then my phone screen lit up on the nightstand. No notification, just a glow. I picked it up, and the Twitch app was already open. I hadn't opened it. My account was still logged out, yet the same feed was there. The basement door, the faint yellow light, but the angle was different this time. Wider. Now, the camera showed more of the room, the corner where a desk sat, a window to the left, and a bed against the wall. It took me too long to realize why it felt familiar. Because it was my room, not just a similar layout. The same desk, the same crooked poster, and even the same crack in the paint by the window frame. And right there, barely visible in the grain of the video, was a shadow sitting in front of a monitor. Me. I dropped the phone. The screen hit the floor and went black. That's when my laptop booted up by itself. The startup chime sounded like a death knell in the dark, echoing far too loud. My monitor blinked on next, not to the desktop, but to the Twitch page again. The feed was full screen this time. The camera feed, my camera feed, panning slowly across my room, toward me. I slapped the power button. Nothing happened. The light on my webcam flicked on, a tiny red dot burning in the dark. My heart started racing. I covered the lens with my hand. The red light went out, but my speakers popped, releasing a burst of static that made me flinch. And then, under the static, I heard it. A voice, whispering, typing. The sound was soft, distorted, and almost too quiet to be real. I froze, every muscle in my body rigid. Then, looking, it was describing me. Out loud. I reached for the mouse, hand trembling. The pointer moved before I touched it. Moving. I yanked the power cord from the wall. The screen went black, but the whisper didn't stop. Breathing. The air around me felt charged, heavy, like the space itself was watching. I stumbled backward, grabbed my phone, and tried to turn on the flashlight. The screen stayed dark, but the speaker hissed, then spoke again. Watching. I dropped it. The hum grew louder, shaking through the floorboards, vibrating the walls. I turned toward the mirror across the room, and that's when I saw it again. My reflection. Lagged, it was a split second behind. When I raised my hand, it followed after, and then it smiled. A slow, deliberate smile that didn't belong to me. Something inside me cracked then. The rational part that still believed this could be explained by code or malware. I screamed, grabbed a blanket, threw it over the mirror, and stumbled toward the door. But before I could reach it, my computer turned itself back on again. This time, the feed wasn't Twitch. It was a local video file, REC 2023 07 16 02 41 59 MP4I. Never recorded anything with that name. I hovered the mouse over it. The cursor trembled like it was alive. My own hand was shaking too hard to click, but the file opened anyway. The video showed me, sitting exactly where I stood. Same clothes, same lighting, same terrified expression, except in the video, I wasn't moving. The image just held there, frozen, until my reflection behind me turned its head and whispered something into my ear. I couldn't hear what it said. Not clearly, just fragments, stream, watching, both. Then the file ended. I ran. I didn't think, didn't grab my keys, and just bolted out of the room and down the stairs. Every screen in the house flickered on as I passed. My TV, my old monitor, even the smart fridge display. All showing the same image. Me, standing in the hallway looking terrified. The whispers followed me down the stairs. Running. Turning. Watching. I made it outside, into the cold night air. Everything was silent. I took out my phone again, desperate to call someone, anyone. But before I could unlock it, the screen lit up on its own. Twitch, the live feed. Except now, the camera wasn't in my room. It was outside, filming me. The chat started flooding with messages, one after another, faster than I could read them. Dozens of usernames, all variations of mine, all typing the same thing. Me. Look behind you. I did. There was nothing there, just the faint hum of electricity, the endless dark of my yard, and the sound of my own pulse pounding in my ears. Then I heard a voice. Not from the phone, not from the speakers. From the dark. Streaming, I didn't wait. I threw the phone as far as I could and ran. When I looked back, the screen was still glowing in the grass, showing me sprinting away from the camera, my own body captured from a distance I couldn't see. And just before the feed cut out, I heard the whisper again, clearer this time. It said something I'll never repeat. Not here, but if you think your webcam light just blinked, it didn't. After that night, I didn't sleep for 3 days. Every creak in the house felt like static. Every reflection, the window, my phone screen, even the metal kettle on the stove, seemed to move a fraction too late. But fear does something strange to you. It doesn't always paralyze. Sometimes it pushes. I couldn't stop thinking about what I'd seen, what I'd joined. I needed to know what it was. Or maybe I just needed proof I wasn't losing my mind. So I started digging. At first, I searched for anything about hidden Twitch feeds or ghost live streams. The usual creepypasta rabbit holes popped up. The man behind the stream, the Watcher channel, and the broadcast that never ends. All urban legends, but buried deep in an old web crawler archive, one of those half-broken databases that cache deleted. Sites, I found something else. It wasn't a story. It was documentation, a PDF stamped with a watermark. Twitch internal research, confidential. The file title was Mirror Feed, Adaptive Predictive Viewer Experimentation Framework. I froze. The summary described a program meant to learn viewers' behavior in real time, to monitor not just engagement, but facial expressions, micro-reactions, and even breathing rhythm via passive webcam feedback. A stream that watched you back. It was supposed to predict what kind of content you'd want before you even clicked. Human behavior loop optimized for emotional synchronization, the document said. That's the official phrase. I still remember it because it made me feel physically cold. The further I read, the worse it got. Early testers had reported phantom feedback, meaning their devices began reacting before they did. Webcams flickering on, mics recording without input. The internal notes dismissed it as echo, latency, but there was a line on one of the last pages that made my stomach drop. Mirror Feed's prototype began, generating new data from inactive user sessions. Inactive users, people who'd logged out, disconnected. It was generating new data from them. When I tried to scroll down further, the document crashed. My browser froze, and before I could refresh, the file was gone. The entire archive page returned to 404. Someone had deleted it. But not before I took a screenshot of one thing, a subheader I hadn't noticed before it vanished. Active iteration, Mirror Feed v3. I stared at that name for a long time. I didn't find any mention of versions 1 or 2 anywhere. No forums, no dev notes, nothing. It was like they'd been erased. Then I noticed something else. The timestamp on the file. It was updated 3 days ago. I checked the metadata. The last person to access the file, listed in the log, was me. Except I hadn't opened it yet. The system already knew my account name. My location. Even the device ID of the computer I was using. That's when I realized this wasn't an old archive. It was live. Someone, or something, was still maintaining the Mirror Feed system. I went deeper, scouring private dev boards and abandoned IRC channels. Old posts from people who claimed to have worked on experimental Twitch backend projects before the 2020 merger with Amazon's AI division. Most were gone. Deleted accounts, deactivated users. But in one thread, still cached through the Wayback Machine, a user named Mirror Mod posted a warning in 2021. If you see a stream titled Private Feed, don't click it. It's not a video, it's a handshake request. A handshake, like a connection being established between two systems. Between it and me, I felt sick. Everything started to make sense. The whispers, the reflections, the camera turning toward me. I hadn't stumbled into a haunted stream. I'd activated a protocol. Mirror feed wasn't broadcasting something else. It was scanning for someone new to attach to. And it found me. When I tried to trace the IP behind the feed, it didn't point to any known Twitch servers. It bounced across dozens of ghost nodes, some in abandoned data centers, others under shell companies that no longer exist. The trail ended in a dead domain. Mirror feed. Live. I clicked anyway. The page loaded for just a second before collapsing into black. Then text appeared, centered on the screen. Welcome back. No login. No password. Just that message. Then another line blinked underneath. Host recognized. My webcam light came on. I yanked the plug. My hands shaking. Too late. Every other device in my apartment, my phone, my tablet, my old laptop, lit up with the same screen, the same message. Host confirmed. Session initializing. I didn't know what to do. I unplugged everything, tore cords from the wall, and even flipped the breaker. The apartment went dark and still. I heard the whisper again. From the laptop battery that wasn't even connected. Streaming. I left everything there. Packed a bag, got in my car and drove until sunrise. But even now, when I connect to Wi-Fi, strange pings appear on my network log. Ghost devices with no MAC address. Each one is ghost named Mirror Feed V3. I think the stream wasn't just watching me, it was teaching me. And now, it doesn't need the camera anymore. Because when I check the analytics page on Twitch, when I scroll through the back-end view history, I still see the same feed. Live. 0 viewers, except one, me. And it's been streaming, uninterrupted, ever since that night. To anyone reading this, if you ever find a link labeled Mirror Feed V3 or Private Feed, don't open it. Don't even hover over it. Because it's not looking for clicks. It's looking for hosts. And once it finds you, you're never offline again. I told myself I'd never go live again. After everything Mirror Feed had shown me, after everything it had taken, I swore I'd disappear. But obsession is a kind of gravity. It pulls you back. So that night, I set up my old DSLR, propped it on a stack of books, and pointed it at myself. The curtains were drawn. Every device I wasn't using was unplugged. My phone was in airplane mode. It didn't matter. The moment I hit go live, my screen flickered. Not with my feed, but with the one I'd been running from. It was me. Same room. Same camera angle. Same shirt, but off by half a second, like a bad lip sync. I raised my right hand. On screen. My double raised its right hand too. But slower. I blinked. It blinked. But the timing was wrong. As if it was rehearsing me before I moved. This is my last stream, I whispered, leaning close to the mic. If you're seeing this, I won't stop. No chat appeared. No viewers. Just the twin me on the screen, staring. Then, behind the lagged version of myself, the shadows began to shift. Not in my room, on its side. Shapes blurred in the background. Faces pressed against the edges of the frame, mouths opening soundlessly. Their skin looked pixelated like a corrupted JPEG. I felt cold all over. Do you see this? I asked, voice cracking. Someone tell me you see this. And then, finally, the chat activated. Hundreds of usernames poured in at once. Broken strings of letters and numbers impossible to read. Every message is identical. Welcome home. It flooded the screen, line after line, until I couldn't see myself anymore. Just welcome home scrolling like a command. I reached forward to close the stream. My double on the screen reached too, but a second early. Then it smiled at first. I didn't. My heart jumped into my throat. I backed away from the camera. On screen, my double leaned in closer. The smile widened, teeth pixelated and too sharp. The lights in my apartment flickered. The screen is cut to static, and then black. No feed, no camera preview. Just my own reflection staring back at me from the dead monitor. If you're reading this, if you're watching the upload, it means the stream didn't stop. It means I didn't stop it. And somewhere out there, Mirror Feed is still running, waiting for the next host to go live. Maybe it's already watching you, maybe that's why you found this. Because the feed's still active, and it's waiting. If your reflection's lagging right now, it's already too late. You didn't join the stream. The stream joined you. I tried to end it, delete the files, shut down the feed, and destroy the drives. But every time I blacked out the screen, it booted back up on its own. And now I think it doesn't need me anymore. Because it's you. You're the one watching. Your camera light just flickered, didn't it? Don't check it. Every time someone watches this, the feed learns a little more. Your room, your face, the timing of your breath. That's how it spreads. That's how it survives. If you saw your username in the chat, it's already recording. If you didn't, check again. You might see it this time. Leave a comment. Tell me if it's there. Tell me if the light's on. Because of the video you're watching right now. It is the stream, and somewhere behind your reflection, something's watching back. Static hisses, voice distorts, cracking between human and digital tones. Don't cut.